Hello and welcome to Edu Star Food Journey. We are still on daily commonly mispronounced words in the English language. This is part of our series we've been studying for some time, and this is part 5 of the series. Let's begin in earnest. So we are studying English words Nigerians commonly misuse or mispronounce under the series. Now the words we are going to study today are: number 1, actually; number 2, comfortable; 3, vegetable; 4, jewelry; 5, February; 6, often; 7, ask; 8, coupon; 9, data; and 10, espresso. Okay, here are the words and the transcriptions. Let's begin with number 1. The word actually is pronounced, as you can see in this box or square bracket, actually. Actually. Now, common misuse, often pronounced as actually, right? Or shortened to actually by some people. Tip: the middle sounds true should be clear. So say it like actually. Actually. So that is how you pronounce the word actually. We come to the next, which is comfortable. That's where I am going to lay more emphasis. Comfortable. The word has its stress on the first syllable. Look at, you have come. You pronounce it as come. The word come. So comfortable. Then the stress, the second syllable is not stressed and it's softened. It's suppressed a bit. Likewise, the third down to the last one. Comfortable. Common misuse. Sometimes pronounced fully as comfortable. Some people do pronounce it, especially here in Nigeria, as comfortable. I'm sorry, that is still the right pronunciation I gave. Comfortable. Placing stress on on the 3 of the syllables before the last one. Comfortable. Please, it's not pronounced that way. The stress comes only on the first syllable, and then the other ones are softened. Then, tip. The correct way sounds more like comfortable. You get that? Comfortable. You get that? So it's as though we don't pronounce much of the second syllable, but we do. That's how you pronounce comfortable. Instead of pronouncing it comfortable, you simply say comfortable, with the middle syllable softened, as I said earlier. So we continue to number 3. Another of the words that need emphasis. Pronunciation, which is the transcription. You can see it in the box. We have vegetable, and table. So when you pronounce or you combine the sounds, you get vegetable, not vegetable, Please be mindful of how you pronounce the second syllable. In fact, it's just split into 3 syllables, not 4 syllables. 3, veg, and bo. Instead of vegetable. Do you get that? You have vegetable, veg, and te, and bo. Combine the three, you have vegetable. So that's the right pronunciation. You should be mindful of that when you pronounce the word vegetable. Common misuse is some people pronounce it, or most people pronounce it as vegetable, as I stated before. So be mindful of how you pronounce that word. It's only split into 3 syllables. There is no G there in pronunciation, but J. Veg, not veggie. Veg, not veggie. Or veggie, please. Note that. So some people pronounce it as what? Vegetable. With 3 clear syllables. Whatever the case, please note it's not pronounced in that manner. Okay, let's continue. Tip, the G, and table blend quickly, so sounding like vegetable. That is how you pronounce the word. All right, in continuation, we have number 4, which is jewelry, 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 jewelry. So common misuse is pronounced as jewel. Some people pronounce it as jewelry or jewelry, jewelry. See, just note the right pronunciation. Go back to the transcription. You see jewelry, jewelry, Jew and all and re. That's the pronunciation. When you combine them, you get jewelry, jewelry. So that is how you pronounce the word, and not jewelry or jewelry. Please, it should be noted. Tip. You should say it smoothly as jewelry, blending the syllables. So that's how you pronounce the word jewelry, jewelry, jewelry. So thanks for learning it. Number 5, we have February. February. It's just like when we try to pronounce the word January. So February, February, February. You don't pronounce it omitting the R or the R sound. You pronounce the R sound. It's not skipped at all. So common misuse, many say February. Removing the first R in the pronunciation, it is wrong. February, that's the pronunciation. February, February, that's the pronunciation. Tip, the correct pronunciation has the R after the B, as we stated earlier. So you say February, not February, or Feb, or some other way that some other people pronounce it. You should understand what I mean. Number 6, we have often. 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 In fact, it's important to take note of this. Sometimes people tell us that the word is only pronounced as often, not often, or whichever way. Please, it's correct to say often. It's also correct to say often, but it's more correct to say often, omitting the T. It's more correct to say often, omitting the T. American pronunciation, you can see how it's depicted up there. British pronunciation, you can see how it's depicted. So that is how you can pronounce the word often. It's not wrong to say often, but it's more correct to say often. You should be the judge of your own self. Common misuse here says sometimes the T is pronounced, but it's usually silent. So that's what I told you before, and you should take that as a lesson. Tip, say often. Simply say often with a silent T. Even though the two are correct, the one more correct is often without the T pronounced. That should be noted. Number 7, ask. In fact, most people do call this word ask, or some other way, I don't know. But it's simply ask. Know that the S comes before the K. So you don't pronounce it interchangeably by saying ask. Simply say ask because the S comes before the K. Common misuse, often said as ask. So that is what this should be to you. The lesson you should learn from how to pronounce the word ask is that you pronounce the S before the K, not the other way around, as some people say when they pronounce and they say ask instead of ask. Note it, S comes before the K. That is, the sound comes before the sound. And so you have ask, not any other way at all. Then tip, correct is ask, ending with sk sound. Number 8, we have coupon, 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 or coupon, coupon. You can see the pronunciations. Common misuse, sometimes said coupon with a short U sound, coupon, coupon, instead of coupon. Note the difference. Note the difference in pronunciation. Pronunciation is a tricky kind of study. It's a tricky kind of lesson that you have to pay attention to every ounce of it, every part of it, every detail. You have to be detailed in everything you do with pronunciation. Otherwise, you miss it out and you miss out completely. If you miss one, you miss out completely. I don't mean that by not learning a particular thing, you'll not be able to do well or grow in it. But by paying little attention to some parts and then paying attention to other parts, you will miss out completely. So what I really mean by this is that you should pay attention to as much of the details as you can. Don't neglect anyone. Otherwise, you miss out completely. So that is it. Then tip, pronounce coupon with a long U sound at the first and short O sound at the ending, as you can see in the first pronunciation here. Coupon, coupon, coupon. That is how you pronounce the word. Number 9, another word of great importance. In fact, you know how many people call it here or pronounce it here in Nigeria. Whatever you might have been calling it before now, take note of how it is pronounced. I would like you to attempt by looking at the transcription here. Just pause the video and attempt before you continue and hear me pronounce the word. Okay, having made your attempt, please, I would like you to try, okay, I don't know how you are going to interpret that in your comments, but once I pronounce mine, you will reply whether you got the pronunciation or not. Just text it in the comment. Now, the word is pronounced as dater. Dater. You can see the A sound. A sound is a diphthong, and then the silent A sound, which we call the sure sound at the ending. So that is how you pronounce it. And in the second pronunciation, dater. Dater. That is The short or sound, the short R sound and the schwa sound at the ending, both are acceptable. So we have common misuse. Most people call it data, as the case may be, and several other way they pronounce it. It is not data. It's not some other way around. You simply say data. And personally, I prefer data to some other way of pronouncing it. Tip: both are correct, but choose one consistently. It is important you note that both these pronunciations, as we show here, as you can see on the screen right here in the boxes, two boxes, it says data or data, data or data. You get that? So these two pronunciations are correct. You can use any of them. Personally, I have one that I use from time to time, which is data. And finally, we have the last one, which is espresso. Espresso. Common misuse is often people pronounce it as espresso, but there is no X. Let's look at it, the spelling. The word is spelled Espresso. Espresso. So did you see anything like an X there in the pronunciation? In the spelling? Of course not. So how do you expect the word S to produce X? X. Sometimes I wonder how people pronounce words, whether they even consider their pronunciations at all, or they just hear others pronounce and they just join the queue. That is not done. An intelligent person should be able to verify the things he does. He should be able to look deeper than what the people see on the surface. That is what makes you an intellectual. That's what makes you a human being. We have the ability to think on our own. We have the ability to choose things on our own, not the choices people have made, and then we take such choices as ours. How I started learning my own pronunciations, which today you can quote me anywhere, I am doing very well. I'm not the one praising myself, but I know, and people say it a lot. How I began to learn mine is simply I started by trying to study every single word and how they are pronounced. And so today, I don't think there is any English word I cannot pronounce correctly, even without seeing the transcription. Even without having seen the word before, I will try to use my knowledge of pronunciation, of phonetics, of whatever you may call it, to decipher how the word can be rightly pronounced and even place the stress, whatever part of phonics, where they are supposed to be. So everything starts small, but by consistency and daily practice and commitment, you discover that in time, you become perfected at what you do. So the same advice I drop for you. Practice each of these words on daily basis. And not just that, verify every other word you pronounce on daily basis. For instance, if people say with, that is, if they want to pronounce the word with, that is WITH, and you hear them say with pronouncing the t sound instead of the sound, you should know what I mean. T and th are not the same. You should be able to visit your dictionary. You see people, what can stir up that mindset of verification or research is nothing but when there seems to be a difference between pronunciations of one particular word, or several words, that have, this word is this particular word spelled this way. Yet when you hear Mr. A pronounce it, he pronounces it as something else, and another pronounces some other thing. So that stirs up your willingness and desire to know how the word can be rightly pronounced. And the best bet is your dictionary. I prefer the Oxford Learner's Dictionary. So I want you to tap into that grace and start today to verify every word you hear people pronounce. I want to give you an assignment under this. That is what you're going to write for me in the comment. Now, how do you pronounce this word? How do you pronounce? Maybe I have taught it somehow, that is indirectly, in one of our lessons. How do you pronounce this word? D-I-R-E-C-T. I say it again. Write it down. D-I-R-E-C-T. Is it pronounced, you hear people say, direct? Or is it pronounced, as you hear people say, direct? Most times when I speak, I say direct. Some other persons say direct. Some other persons still say the same thing that I say, direct. So, how is the word pronounced? Or is there any other way you think people should pronounce the word? Or people pronounce the word in your own parts of the globe? Write it in the comment section. Okay, another word that I would like you to learn how to pronounce through your dictionary and personal study before you can refer back to me and I show you the correct pronunciation is the word T-E-A-R. I say it again. T-E-A-R. What do I mean? Some people say tear. Some people say tear, as the case may be. Or even one person might say tear, and that same person still says tear. Depending on the occasion, maybe. So, how do you think the word should be correctly pronounced? Write in the comment. I think we are bringing the lesson to an end. If you have any question based on today's lesson, please drop it in the comment so it can be revisited and answered in our next class. Then we conclude. I believe you have learned so much today. I suppose you've learned a great deal. Of course, congratulations. How do you pronounce these three words? These are touch. Oh, I am sorry. How do you pronounce these three words? I won't pronounce them because it should be another thing you have to consider. T-O-U-C-H, N-O-W, and T-H-O-R-O-U-G-H. I want you to simply write the transcription for me in the comment. Transcriptions of these three words. Each of these three words. So you simply write the transcription of T-O-U-C-H, the next one, and the next one. That is, write the word and write the transcription after the word, just as we've been doing. And now, suppose you don't know how to do this. Please search them in the dictionary. You're going to see each of these words, and the transcriptions usually come immediately after the word displayed or the word under study. If it's T-O-U-C-H, you can have the word written, then a square bracket, as the case may be. You have the word, you have the sound depicted or shown, and some other things. So you can see the meaning there, you can see other items surrounding the word. That is how you can search out. Once you see the transcription, pick it up, try to pronounce it correctly using the transcription, and then come to the comment and write it down. Suppose you're not able to pronounce it well, or even if you are able to pronounce it correctly, then wait for us for our next class on this after you must have written and commented so that you can see how the words can be correctly pronounced. Now simply type the words. I have stated that. I have stated that. So in our next class, we are going to continue with these words and more as part of our series. I want to see you again. Stay calm. Always expect more from us. We are ready for you. And our greatest interest is to ensure that you do very well regarding your ability to pronounce every English word. See you again and soon. Thanks.